Max Verstappen's path to winning the 2022 Formula 1 World Championship with 4 races to spare could not have been more different to the journey to his first title. Last year, he prevailed on the very last lap in the most intense title fight in history. But as the season has gone on, his progress has become increasingly serene. Winning this year's title has been easier for Verstappen than in 2021. How could it not be, given last year's fight between him and Lewis Hamilton was so acrimonious? But it has allowed him to show, for the first time, a trait he shares with all the greats in F1 history. That's not to say Verstappen hadn't already shown his brilliance prior to this year, but every championship campaign has a different character that allows a driver to show a different dimension to their skill set. To identify and understand this legendary trait, we need to take a detailed look at how Verstappen has gone about taking what has ultimately proved to be one of the most comfortable championship wins in F1 history. 3 races into 2022, Verstappen and Red Bull were on the back foot. Although he won the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, that was his only finish during that early run. This left him 46 points behind Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc and down in 6th in the standings. Verstappen dropped out of 2nd place late on in Bahrain thanks to a fuel cavitation problem and retired in Australia, also when running 2nd, thanks to a damaged fuel line that caused a leak. Since then, he's won 11 out of 15 races. In the space of just a few months, what promised to be a spectacular title fight with Leclerc petered out, with Verstappen's lead building inexorably. The only real setbacks were picking up floor damage shortly after taking the lead at Silverstone and slumping to 7th, and taking the same result in Singapore after a fueling problem meant he had to abandon what would have been a dominant pole lap. In total, Verstappen has won 12 races this season with 4 remaining. That means he could yet equal or break the record for most wins in an F1 season of 13, which is currently shared by Michael Schumacher for 2004 and Sebastian Vettel for 2013. By any measure, it's been a remarkable season for Verstappen, and considering the setbacks he's had, not only the early season retirements but also some lowly grid positions, it's one that showcases a quality of the greats that is often undervalued. Verstappen's key quality in 2022, one that has allowed him to rack up such astonishing statistics, is the ability to make the exceptional seem boring through utter dominance. Boring isn't an adjective you'd usually invoke to describe Verstappen, but it's a valid word to use because it's taken the sting out of a title fight that started so promisingly. And it's no criticism. In fact, it's the capacity to do this that marks out the true greats. It represents unstoppable, grinding excellence. Just look at his run of 3 victories around the August break when he won from lowly grid positions. Despite starting 10th in Hungary, 14th in Belgium and 7th in Italy, his victory seemed inevitable. To put that into context, out of 1,075 World Championship races, only 82 have been won by a driver starting 7th or lower, less than 8%. Winning races from down the grid is rare, yet Verstappen has made each seem a formality. He's only taken 4 of his 12 wins from pole position this year. It's easy to look at this phenomenon backwards. The car is fast, so of course the driver will come through the field. There's some truth to that, given you could only lap as quick as the combination of physics and the machinery allow, but the exceptional drivers have a knack for extracting that potential across a wide range of conditions, race after race. That applies regardless of where you start. There are lesser drivers who can win in such circumstances some of the time, but the true greats do it most of the time. This means Verstappen's numbers are rising at an astonishing rate. Yes, there are more Grand Prix per season these days, so his tally of 159 race starts puts him inside the top 40. But he's now racked up 32 wins, level with Fernando Alonso and behind only 5 drivers: Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel, Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna in the all-time list. That's quite some company. Still only 25, Verstappen has plenty of time to climb that list and perhaps even get into the upper echelons of the table. However, as he spent 6 seasons in machinery not good enough to challenge for the title or take regular victories, his statistics after an equivalent number of races show he's behind where Schumacher, Vettel, Prost, Senna and Hamilton were. But a glance at the names on the list shows it requires a rare talent to accumulate such numbers. Verstappen has shown this year that he has no interest in easing off once in a strong position. Some drivers lack the right mentality to achieve such relentlessness, adopting a view of "that's enough." Even if that's not articulated or conscious, it's easy to slip into that given the intensity a driver in Verstappen's position has to maintain. Even for a driver in the best car, that's a rare quality. Verstappen's absolute supremacy over his teammates in recent years is a reminder that a seat in Red Bull is no guarantee of success. After all, since joining Red Bull in May 2016, Verstappen has won 32 races, taken 74 podium finishes, 18 pole positions, and scored 1,861.5 points. His teammates Daniel Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon and Sergio Perez have managed just 7 wins, 35 podiums, 4 poles and 1,277 points between them. The consistency Verstappen is exhibiting is also significant when it comes to the dynamics of the car. Much is made of his preference for a pointy car with a slightly loose rear end that allows him to achieve the desired rotation at corner entry. But preference isn't really the right word, it's really necessity. This characteristic allows a preternaturally skilled driver such as Verstappen to deliver the performance most can't. A car that behaves that way is faster, but to most drivers, much trickier. Verstappen can take that theoretical performance and extract it when most can't. That is another trait of the true greats, an adaptability to car characteristics. This is key to being able to produce relentlessly good performance, as tiny shifts in conditions from lap to lap and even track to track can make a huge difference. No less a driver than Fernando Alonso, who the word relentless could almost have been invented to describe, recognises that in Max. He suggests that adaptability is something innate rather than something that can be taught, saying Verstappen has had that since his karting days. Verstappen's genius is to be able to exploit a car like that reliably, not just over one lap but over race stints. He's not only quick, but manages the tyres well, and after learning some harsh lessons in his younger days, is able to let a race come to him. He realises now that he doesn't have to force the issue, and in taking that calm approach, in races where he starts down the grid, he actually gets into a controlling position extremely quickly. That's a journey many drivers go through. As a general trend, many less experienced drivers want to win every single lap. The best of them learn that the only thing that matters is being on top at the key moments, something Verstappen has embraced. He is now a driver who pieces the weekend together in a logical, patient way. The importance of that shouldn't be underestimated. Nobody can be fastest all of the time, lead every lap, top every session, and the desire to do so works against achieving real success. Verstappen now knows that, hence the way he works is meticulous and intelligent. As 2-time world champion Mika Häkkinen said on a recent episode of the Race F1 podcast, sealing the title early will help him be even stronger next year. That's because it will give him time to prepare for 2023 and avoid the energy-sapping experience of being constantly under pressure, as Häkkinen was on his way to 2 titles in 1998 and 99, which were both decided at the final race. But Verstappen's version of chilling out for the rest of the year to prepare for next season is likely to be racking up yet more wins. That relentless desire for success is a key quality that has shone through in 2022. The critics will say it's too easy, and it's true that the removal of another great in Hamilton from the equation, thanks to the limitations of the Mercedes, has made it more straightforward than last year. But the reality is that great drivers have a knack for making the extraordinary seem mundane and hiding their genius in plain sight as a result. After all, if it really was that easy, every driver would do it when given the opportunity. And the majority don't.